13th of July 2020. Good morning from Europe. Good afternoon, good evening, guys, wherever you are. Piotr, here is live Forex Global YouTube channel. It's morning market update. We are right after the London Open Monday. It's good that it's Monday 13th, not Friday. Well, very slow start, but I do believe we are going to have plenty of fireworks this week, as we do have two central banks and we are approaching US earnings season with the big banks reporting this week. So without a further delay, let's jump straight and check what we have when it comes to the charts. Alright, as it's Europe, so let's have a look what we have when it comes to the European indices. The US indices we are going to discuss later today during the US cash market open, or right after. Anyway, that's the weekly chart of the DAX, right? And we are still below very important supply. I do expect this supply is going to be tested again. We've seen that previously a few weeks ago with some kind of the nice rejection, right? We are right now fifth straight week inside that particular range of that particular falling week. So 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. So I do expect some kind of the attack on that levels over here. All right, and I do expect upper shadow and close back below, right? That could create the opportunity to sell the DAX medium term. If we are going to get back like this and break above, then pullback and longs and even higher levels to come, right? So this is the virtual reality world compared to the real world we are living in, right? So it looks like quite good game. Anyway, going back to the Earth, let's check what we have on a daily chart. We are fighting supply, right? We are fighting this supply based on the which we've seen on the weekly. So that's this huge falling candle on the weekly. So very important what we are going to see. I'm looking for some stop hunt to the upside. It's no change to what we discussed a second ago on the weekly, and some kind of the rejection. But here from the daily, buyers got the right now some kind of the support. We can see the demand around the previous week highest close, right? So I'm talking about the previous Monday. So as long as we are above, we are good to go and check these stops over here, right? Once we are going to move lower and close below that level, from the intraday perspective, we might see lower levels to come. So it looks like from the daily chart perspective as a line in the sand for both bulls and bears. So let's have a look what we have when it comes to the intraday chart. This is the 30-minute chart. And here it looks quite interesting, right? So that's the levels we were discussing from the weekly and daily chart perspective. That's this high, right? Which provide this huge strong pullback. Now the biggest sell-off took place from here. The biggest sell-off took place from here, right? So from the intraday perspective, okay, I see this over under here, right? I see this compared to this one. I see this broken over under as a currently support for the buyers, right? I'm not sure I'm gonna be the buyer here. It's around 12,775.80 based on the chart I'm using. So once we are below, it could be the selling opportunity, and that's what I'm looking for. And actually we are trying, right? We are trying to get back and move a little bit lower. So I'm going to place the line and we are going to check that one once we are going to have some moves, right? So that's how I see, and that's how I see the things when it comes to the DAX index. The second European index is Footsie, all right. I'm sitting tiny short here as well. It's weaker than DAX, so that might be something to watch. Well, it's a little bit easier because what we have here, we have a very tiny consolidation inside this big drop, right? Weekly drop, something similar to what we've seen on the DAX side. But here we are just 50% or maybe 61.8 of that drop is holding buyers and the sellers trying to take over, right? This could be the direction, but what I would like to see here, some kind of the stop count. I'm not sure if we are going to get that as high as 6,350, 60, right? Because we are trading right now like 200 points lower, and doesn't look like for me, for now at least, that it might happen. Anyway, let's switch lower. Let's try to find the opportunity a little bit lower. So what we have here, it was the gap close, right? It was the gap close, and for now looks like that's it, right? Looks like that's it. So what I would like to see from the lower time frame, maybe we are going to try to look for some stops based on previous week high, something similar to DAX. In that case, levels close to 6,280, 6,300, maybe that way. Okay, and intraday, so meaning that the most aggressive approach from the intraday perspective looks like, for me, right, possibility of this 6,200 over under creation, and especially that we have this nice supply over here, because from here, right, we went lower to the downside. So watching developments on the Footsie here as well. All right. So well, I'm bearish. Of course, I do understand that market may stay irrational for much longer. So I'm gonna be very careful, especially when it comes to the intraday perspective. Now, as I mentioned, earnings season is just around the corner. Today is Pepsico, tomorrow JP Morgan, Citi Group, Wells Fargo, Wednesday Goldman Sachs, Thursday Bank of America, Johnson & Johnson, Morgan Stanley, and Netflix. So very interesting week ahead when it comes to the earning. Let's check what is going on when it comes to the FX. Here we have, as I mentioned, two central banks, and Wednesday that's gonna be Bank of Canada, Thursday that's gonna be European Central Bank. When it comes to the calendar today, very quiet with the Bank of England Governor Bailey speaks later today around the European close. Tomorrow is gonna be much more interesting. We do have during the Tokyo session, we do have Chinese data, then European, we do have GDP industrial production out of the UK, we have German final CPI, we do have industrial production and ZEV index out of the European Union, and finally during the New York session we do have US CPI. Wednesday, as I mentioned, Bank of Canada is a top event of that day, but we also have Bank of Japan Wednesday, another top event. So during the Tokyo session, Bank of Japan, during the European session, UK CPI, PPI, then we have during the New York session, Bank of Canada, and then good chunk of the US data, Empire State Manufacturing Index, import prices, industrial production capacity utilization rate. We also have SNB, Swiss National Bank Chairman Jordan speaks, and as usual on Wednesday, official EEA data release when it comes to the oil towards the end of the day, beige book from the US. Thursday, New Zealand CPI during the Tokyo session, job market out of the Australia, Chinese GDP, plenty of data during the Tokyo session Thursday morning, so it might be very, very interesting. Morning session, Europe, London, UK job market, then French final CPI, and later towards the New York Open, ECB rate decision, press conference, and retail sales out of the US plus Philadelphia Fed index, and of course weekly jobless claims. Friday, again, Bank of England Governor Bailey speaks, and US housing data, and that's gonna be it. So today very quiet, so we have quiet start of the day, but then it's gonna be, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be much more interesting. So we are going, of course, discuss this week, the top discussion is gonna be about the euro dollar. So the main question is if the post FOMC high is going to survive, and we are going to see a retest of the yearly open, right, 12.15, or even one get back to 110, or market is going to break post FOMC high and will move higher towards 115 and maybe 118, 120. That's gonna be the key question for today. When it comes to the euro dollar, it's easy. We are going to monitor the top of that range. So we are talking about the levels close to 13.45, 13.50 to the upside, to the downside. Of course, weekly open. So today open closer to levels around the 113, and then lower the support, the buyers, the demand is around 12.17 as discussed previously. From the intraday chart perspective, we have a possibility to retest this over under, right? So this 13.45, 13.50, that's key in my opinion when it comes to the sellers today, right? So I'm going to watch very, very carefully this zone here, all right? That's the zone for sellers, all right? On the other hand, when it comes to the buyers, the weekly open as of now should work as some kind of the demand. So the very tiny 50-60 pips range for now. In case of the break lower, in case of the break below the weekly open, retest of that level might open and bring stop count towards 12.50, and if we are going to hit those stops, lower levels, dashed red line, yearly open, that could be the target. So I'm looking to fade either 13.50 or break below and retest of the weekly open, looking to buy closer to yearly open or after the break post FOMC high. That's how I see the things when it comes to the euro dollar. Cable here, well, plenty of data out of the UK. We have Governor Bailey speaks twice this week, so it's gonna be very, very important. As of now, we are testing very, very important levels, and here, as you can see, we are getting back to the weekly open. So let's switch lower. I like what I see here. Why? Because there was some upside stop count, right, and rejection. Well, let's have a look how we are going to behave here, because this is strong demand zone here, somewhere a little bit lower, right? So either buyers are around from the intraday perspective 26.10 and then lower towards 25.95. all right, that's how I see the thing. So we might just spike down and create lower shadow, okay, something like this. It could be the case, and then we might retest the higher levels. But if we are going to get the close, I'm gonna to think about looking for an opportunity to try to join the short side. The 26.2590 is the last line of the defense. Otherwise, we are going to see a little bit lower levels, and the retest of 25 cannot be ruled out, right? When I'm talking about the 25, I'm talking about this zone here. Okay, so that's what could be on the card when it comes to the pound, especially that trend line is being broken again, right? So watching very carefully developments on the cable. So guys, that's it from my side this morning. That's it from Europe for now. Don't be trapped. I'm around and I'm going to make another update around the US cash market open. Have a good trading day. See you around. Goodbye, guys.